just super capable.
What's up, RC enthusiast? Welcome to O Brothers RC. In this video, we're going to take a look at some dirt cheap upgrades and some free upgrades that I did to this Redcat Ascent 18. Then we'll take it outside to my course and see what those upgrades did to improve the capability. And if you find this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's jump over to the garage and get started.
All right, this thing is absolutely fantastic out of the box. I can't say enough good things about it, and it is absolutely my new favorite platform for 1/18 scale builds. So even though this thing is fantastic out of the box, I'm going to show you a few simple, easy, cheap ways to make it even better. So the first thing I'm going to do is absolutely free, and we'll make this truck perform a little better as well as look a lot better. These front fender flares I don't mind at all. They actually look pretty cool, but the back ones are super goofy and they look pretty darn funny, and they gotta go. These scissors are curved and they're made for cutting Lexan, and it's very easy to cut curves just like this. So if you want to do this, you really should get yourself a set of these scissors. And just that easy, the rear fender is gone and the truck looks a lot better. Next, I'm getting a little bit of wheel rub right here, so I'm going to trim that off as well. And just by taking that little bit off, even if the tire rubs, it won't catch near as much. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take a Sharpie to these front fenders because I want to turn them black. Just put yourself a couple coats of this on there and you got yourself a black fender without having to paint it. Another thing I'm going to do is remove this badging because after driving it just a couple times, they're starting to collect dirt and they're starting to look bad. The only ones I'm going to leave are the tail lights and the grill and headlights. And as you can see there, that made a big difference. This thing looks a lot better, I think. So I dig this body. It looks sort of like an old school Datsun, and with it being Lexan, I definitely won't be replacing it. I think it really helps the capability of this truck, and it looks fantastic. Okay, so the next improvement I'm going to do is to move the shocks in a little bit on the front and the back. This will improve the articulation of the truck. So that definitely improved the articulation of the truck, but now I'm getting a little bit of rubbing on the bumper here, and I'm going to have to go ahead and trim that bumper just a little bit. One thing Redcat did really well was tuck the bumpers on this thing. It comes stock with the bumpers just really tucked up and very, very good for crawling. So as you can see, I trimmed it and rounded it off so that if it does rub, it won't catch. And I was afraid it wasn't going to look good, but I actually think it looks better. So something I just noticed while I was trimming the bumper is that when the suspension comes up, the servo mount actually hits the chassis rail, and it's keeping the suspension from articulating all the way. I'm going to go ahead and trim this down, and that's going to allow this to go up inside the chassis rail there, and it's going to give me even more articulation. So as you can see, I just filed down the corner of the servo mount, and this is very similar to what you do on an SCX24. As you can see, this is going to allow for better articulation. Okay, so the next mod I'm going to do is not free, but it is dirt cheap. I'm going to go ahead and stick one of these wheel weights here right on this tray on the front of the truck here. These are wheel weights that you would use to balance the tires on your real truck. They're dirt cheap, and you can get a ton of them for like $8 and use them on all your RC cars if you want. I'm going to put 2 of these right over the top of the front end here, which is going to help to counterbalance the weight from this giant battery back here. So I was going to go with the 64mm DJ Crawler tire, but I think I'm actually going to step down to a 60mm. These are just a hair smaller than the tires that are on here, and because this truck has portal axles, I'm not worried about losing clearance. I'm going to use these brass wheels as well to really add some weight. With these little bit smaller tires and these brass wheels, I'll bring the center of gravity down on this truck, and it should really add to the performance. And the last dirt cheap upgrade I'm going to do is I'm going to use some copper wire on the inner beadlock ring. I'm going to wrap it around here a few times and add a bunch of weight to the 2 front wheels of this truck, once again to counterbalance the weight of that big battery. Okay, I got my copper stuffed inside there, and now I am going to install this beadlock wheel here. But these DJ Crawler tires are so sticky, I'm having trouble lining up the holes here. So a quick tip is I just get a tiny bit of oil on the end of my finger. Then I just put this on the ring that goes on the back side of the tire. You really don't need very much at all, because you definitely don't want to be getting it all over your nice sticky tire and ruin your traction. And now that I got it in there, I just take this, put it in one of the holes and push, and it slides right over and lines up perfectly. Now I got myself 2 seriously heavy front tires and wheels. These weigh 2.3 ounces each, and that should really add to the capability of this thing. When I went to mount these wheels, they were very slightly rubbing on the portal axles, so I'm going to go ahead and add a 10mm brass hex extension here. That is going to add even more capability to this truck. All right, let's get the back 2 mounted up, and then we'll take it outside and hit some hard lines. All right, we got the truck out here at the O Brothers RC Park. And this thing pretty much ate up every line that's on this course. So I'm going to go ahead and take it offline and kind of hit some of these lines that are in between the regular trails. They're definitely a little more difficult, like this one here, but still, is it going to have any trouble? Not at all. Wow. So these aren't the hardest lines known to man, but they are pretty difficult, and I just want to get a feel for this truck before I take it down to the really difficult stuff down in my other course. Still no problem there. All right, so this line right here under this bridge is pretty dang tough. Let's see what it can do. Oh, wow. Wow. Look at that. What a beast. Okay, I'm curious to see how this thing side hills. So we're going to take it off course right here and get it onto this gnarly rock side hill and see how it does. Wow, really good. All right, so here's a super steep little line. Let's see if we can handle this. The slow crawl on this thing is fantastic. Look at how steep that is. Slow crawl's great. Tires are barely spinning. Come on, little guy. There we go. Whoop. Uh-oh. Ready, go. Nice. All right, so this thing killed everything on this course, and those were not easy lines. They might have looked easy, but they're not, and doing it with one hand was definitely even more difficult. So let's take this thing down to my other course and see how it does on some seriously vertical stuff. We're going to start with this line here. It's a pretty tricky line. Let's start by hitting this rock here. As you can see, those portal axles just go right over that rock. That's really nice. Got to take this really slow. Nice. This rock pile here has a lot of great lines, and I'm going to try to get up on this rock and do a side hill. But first I got to make it through these chunky rocks here. The portal axles really come in handy right here, as you can see there. Nice. Okay, I did get on that first half. Let's see if we can get to the second half here. Nice. Sweet. All right, let's get sideways on this rock and see what the side hill capability is. pretty good. Pretty dang good. This is probably the hardest line I have out here. And you got to make your way up that. Then you got to get on this rock and come up here and hop that gap to get on top of this rock. These DJ Crawler tires are fantastic, as well as this Redcat ascent is awesome. And I got about 150 bucks into this truck total right now, and it is just super capable. Haha. I cannot believe how capable this thing is. Just absolutely fantastic. What a great freaking little rig. Amazing. If you ain't got one, get yourself some of that.
So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of money to make your rig capable. Because with the price of the rig and the parts I used today, I'm around 150 bucks. And for that price, I am super stoked on this rig and how capable it is now. The only other thing I might do to this truck is add a heavier shock oil, which is pretty much free. Other than that, it's fantastic. If you like this video or found it helpful at all, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I got tons of builds and other cool stuff coming up here at O Brothers RC, and you don't want to miss out. Thanks for watching, and remember, when you think RC, think O Brothers RC.
I got 150 bucks into this truck right now, and it is just fantastic. I got about 150 bucks into this truck so far, and it is super capable.